Today I'm going to show you how to make this pretty blue forget-me-not pillow. This is a no-sew pattern, so that means that this creation doesn't require any sewing whatsoever. And as always, this tutorial won't teach you how to crochet, but if you'd like to learn how, I have a full online course linked in the description. It teaches you from the very beginning how to crochet and how to crochet well. So let's jump in. The yarn that I'm using for this project is Sweet Snuggles yarn. This is a size 7 jumbo yarn, and I'm using it in this blue color. You can use any color, but I'm going for a forget-me-not vibe. So you will need 2 skeins of this blue, and then also you'll need about less than half of this yellow for the center. Not all size 7 jumbo yarns are made the same. Some are much larger or even smaller. So just know if you're using a different yarn than Sweet Snuggles, it may turn out looking different. With this yarn, I'm using a 10mm crochet hook, but I actually think a 9mm would work best, but 10 is what I have. So always use what works best for you. If there are holes in your work, then go down a hook size, and if it feels like the tension is too tight, go up a hook size. You'll also need about 16 ounces of fiberfill stuffing, a stitch marker to keep track of where you are, and something to cut with. We'll start by making all 5 petals. So we'll grab our blue yarn and our hook, and we're going to start with a slip knot. Put that on your hook and pull it tight. Now we're going to chain 2, and in the second chain from the hook we are going to do 6 single crochets. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then we're going to pull that tight so that there's no gap in the center there. Now you are going to do 6 increases, so that's 1 increase in each stitch. And for my beginners, an increase is 2 single crochets in the same stitch. Now I'm going to insert my stitch marker to keep track of where I am. Next we will do 1 round of single crochets. So that's 1 single crochet in each of these 12 stitches. Now I'm going to flip my work so that the correct side is showing, and you know the correct side is showing if the tail is on the inside. So for this next round we are going to do 2 single crochets and an increase 4 times, but for all of our increasing rounds we will be staggering the stitches. So you'll do 1 single crochet and then an increase, and then you'll do 2 single crochets, so 1, move on to the next stitch, 2, and then your increase, 2 single crochets, and an increase, 2 single crochets, an increase, and then 1 single crochet. And we will be staggering all of our even increasing rounds, and that's just so that our increases don't stack up and everything is more uniform. Now we will do 3 single crochets and an increase and repeat that sequence 4 total times. Next we will do 4 single crochets and an increase, but we'll stagger the stitches. So we'll start with 2 single crochets and then our increase, and then move on to your 4 single crochets and an increase. And then we'll end the round with 2 single crochets. Now we will do 5 single crochets and an increase 4 times. Now we'll do 6 single crochets and an increase 4 times, but once again it's an even round, so we'll stagger our stitches. So we'll start with 3 single crochets and an increase. Now 6 single crochets and our increase, and repeat that sequence. And we'll end our round with 3 single crochets. Next we will do 7 single crochets and an increase 4 times. Now we will single crochet the whole way around for 2 total rounds. So that's 1 single crochet in each stitch until you get back to your stitch marker. After you do your 2 rounds of single crochets, we'll start our decreasing rounds. So for this first one, we will do 7 single crochets and a decrease, and we'll do that sequence 4 total times. Now we'll do 6 single crochets and 1 decrease 4 total times, but we'll stagger the decreases just like we did for the increases. So we'll start with 3 single crochets and a decrease, and then you'll move on to your 6 single crochets and decrease sequences. And we'll end the round with 3 single crochets. Now we'll do 5 single crochets and 1 decrease 4 total times. Now we'll do 4 single crochets and a decrease, and once again we'll stagger those stitches. So start with 2 single crochets and a decrease. Now 4 single crochet and decrease sequence. And we'll end the round with 2 single crochets. Now you'll want to pause here and stuff your petal. So grab your fiber fill stuffing and make sure that you first stuff the tip of the petal here. And when you're stuffing, you want to make sure that you use enough so that it's nice and firm and holds in place, but not too much so that there aren't any holes showing in your work or stuffing coming out of the holes. And as always, make sure that you're stuffing evenly. Shape your project as needed. Just want to make sure that we don't have a lumpy petal. Now we're going to continue with our decreasing rounds. So we are going to single crochet 3, decrease 1, 4 total times. Now we will do 2 single crochets and 1 decrease, and since it's an even round, we'll stagger it. So we'll start with 1 single crochet and a decrease, and then move on to your 2 single crochet decreases. And we'll end the round with 1 single crochet. We're going to do our last round. Just make sure to add any extra stuffing if you need it before you do this next round. And now you're going to do 1 single crochet and 1 decrease 4 total times. Now we're going to fasten off, and you don't need to leave a tail because we won't be sewing. So insert your hook, do a slip stitch, and then fasten off. Pull that tight. And once again, you don't need to leave a tail. This is just the end of my yarn, so I'm just going to weave it in. And then tuck that little tail into your work. And now you're going to pause the video so that you can make 4 more petals for a total of 5 petals. Once you've done that, meet me back here and we'll start to make the center. Now that you have made all 5 petals, we'll move those to the side and grab our yellow yarn. What we're going to do is make the center, and then we'll crochet all of the petals on and continue to close up the center to finish up your flower. So grab the end of your yellow yarn and you're going to make a slip knot. Put that on your hook, pull it tight, and you are going to chain 2. In the second chain from your hook, you're going to do 5 single crochets all into the same stitch. Go ahead and pull that tight so that there's no hole in the center there. Now we are going to do 1 increase in each of the 5 stitches for 10 total stitches. So that's 2 single crochets into each stitch. After you finish those increases, go ahead and insert your stitch marker to keep track of where we are. Next, we will do 1 single crochet and 1 increase 5 times. Next, we will do 2 single crochets and 1 increase. So you do that sequence 5 times. You should now have 20 total stitches, and we're just going to do 1 round of single crochets. So 20 single crochets. Now this will be the round where we attach all of our petals to the center, and we'll be using the no-sew method. So if you've followed any of my other no-sew patterns, then this is exactly the same thing. If not, I'll show you how we do it. So we're going to grab the end of our petal here, and doing a little bit of math, you ended each petal with 8 total stitches. So what you're going to do is flatten the opening, so you'll have 4 total stitches here. And since you ended your petal with 20 total stitches, then that will mean attaching each petal, since there's 5 petals, will take 4 stitches to attach. I hope you're still with me. I'll show you how we do it. So what you're going to do is you're going to flatten that opening, and you're going to insert your hook in through the front and the back of those stitches there. And then you are going to go into that next stitch in the center of the petal, and you're going to do a single crochet. So pull that through all those loops there. You'll have 2 loops on your hook, and pull that through. So let's do that 3 more times to attach our first petal. Insert your hook through both of those stitches there. Sometimes they're a little bit tough to get through, It's okay. We're going to go into the next stitch there on the center, pull a loop through all of those, and then pull a loop through those two. And let's do that 2 more times. Go into that next stitch there and single crochet. And then 1 more time to attach this petal. Single crochet. So it's really important that you don't skip any stitches on the petals. Every single stitch, 4 single crochets to attach each one. You don't skip or go into any of these twice. So let's attach our next petal. So do the exact same thing, fold that in half and insert it through the front and back. Go into that next stitch there and do our single crochet. Then we'll do that 3 more times on this petal. And our last one. So this is what it should look like so far with those petals on there. And we'll attach our next 3 petals. And this is what your flower should look like so far. And we're almost done. Let's put our stitch marker back in, and we are going to single crochet around for 1 round. And yes, it will be a little bit difficult to single crochet around the petals. Just do the best you can. Now we'll move on to our decreasing rounds to close up the center. So you're going to do 2 single crochets and a decrease 5 total times. Let's pause here and stuff the center with fiberfill. Now let's continue decreasing with 1 single crochet and 1 decrease 5 times. Now let's close it up with 5 decreases. I got to my 4th decrease and it's already ready to close. So if you have just a small hole like that, you can stop at 4. If not, do your 5th decrease. So I'm just going to cut a little bit of a tail and we're going to close up this center part here. So I'm going to go through the front loop of all these stitches around the circle here and weave this tail through them. And go ahead and pull that closed, and then we'll tie a little knot so that it doesn't come undone. And then we want to tuck that tail in, so I just use the end of my scissors. And there is your gorgeous forget-me-not flower pillow. If you enjoyed this tutorial, don't forget to like and subscribe. Give me a follow on Instagram and let me know what type of tutorial you'd love to see next. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you real soon.